Hey summoners, this is B Gerbz. This is my detailed Amumu guide. Let's get started. Alright, let's get started with Amumu's abilities. Amumu's passive is Cursed Touch. Amumu's auto attack reduces the target's magic resistance for 3 seconds, and each auto attack refreshes this debuff. So that means whenever you have like an AP champion on your team or you are trying to burst an enemy, you want to auto attack them whenever possible because it will increase your damage. Amumu's Q, Bandage Toss. Amumu throws a bandage to a target's location, and if it hits an enemy, Amumu will pull himself to the enemy, stun them, and deal magic damage. This ability has a range of 1,100. That is an extremely long range for a stun, and you cannot underestimate this ability. Okay, next is Amumu's W, Despair. Nearby enemies take magic damage plus a percentage of their maximum health each second. This ability really helps Amumu be able to 1v1 other tanks. Okay, Amumu's E, Tantrum. The passive to this ability, Amumu takes reduced damage from physical attacks, and the active to this ability, Amumu deals magic damage to the surrounding units. Each time Amumu is hit, the cooldown of Tantrum is reduced by 0.5 seconds. This is the ability that you always want to be maxing on Amumu. It's the ability that does the most damage. And if you are in the middle of a team fight and you are taking most of the damage from auto attacks and such, he can E like crazy, and it does a lot of damage. And plus he does a 360, so it's pretty cool. Now Amumu's R, Curse of the Sad Mummy. This is the ability that Amumu is most famous for. And what this ability does is it entangles the surrounding enemy units, dealing magic damage and preventing attacks and movement for 2 seconds. This is the ability that can absolutely change a team fight, and if you can stun, you want to typically try to stun 3 to 4 people at least. A 5-man stun will should almost always win you the fight. This is why Amumu is picked. Okay, this is a quick note I want to put in, is that Amumu has the highest win rate of any champion right now, with a 57.62% win rate. That's proof right there that Amumu is a good champion, and he's pretty easy to play, and especially at lower rankings when people don't really know how to punish a Amumu early game. He is very effective. He should be in every jungler's pool. Alright, this is the rune pages I usually take on Amumu. I take Armor Pen Reds, Armor Yellows, Armor Quintessences, and Scaling MR and MR for the blues. Now, you might be asking, why do I take Armor over movement speed for the Quintessences? Because that's kind of a standard thing to do on Amumu. I do that because his early game is not very good, and I try to get as tanky as possible earlier, so they have a harder time picking me off, and I'm able to just survive longer in the jungle, and I can hit 6 faster because I'm in the jungle longer, and I don't have it's not as easy to kill me. Alright, for the masteries, I take a standard 0, 21, 9, and the 21 is for you're just as tanky as possible because you are Amumu. Amumu doesn't have a very good escape. He doesn't have any escape besides his flash, and you usually want to use the flash to initiate onto their carries. And the 9 is for he can hold his buffs longer because Amumu is pretty mana dependent, but with the new Spirit Stone, after however many patches go, he can actually get more mana faster. So that's not absolutely necessary. You can take a 9/21 0 if you want to, but this is what I like to do to get the extra movement speed. Alright, this is how you level up his abilities. You want to level up his E first, then his W, and then you can either choose Q or W, but you want to choose Q for the third one if you want to gank level 3. If not, you can level up E so you can farm a little bit faster in the jungle. but you want to max E, then W, then your ultimate, then your Q. Alright, now I'm going to show you how you build Amumu. Now, for Amumu, the standard start, Hunter's Machete, Pots, Warding Totem. You want to always get a Warding Totem because you want to ward, like, I try to ward at 130 to just make sure you don't get invaded at your other buff. But after that, you can make a choice between Spirit Stone and Quill Coat. Both of them are actually really good on Amumu. If you can pick up an early kill, then Spirit Stone. If you are falling a little bit behind, then Quill Coat. And you always want to pick up Boots of Speed because mobility is very important for Amumu. And a pink ward just to make sure you don't get invaded, just because Amumu's 1 to 6 or 1 to 5 it's pretty bad. So you want to make sure your jungle is always warded. Then you can, depending on whether you started, you can just choose between Vexor's Wraith or Ancient Golem. And if they have mostly AD on their team, Ninja Tabbies, or you can get Merc Treads. Those are all these options are your preference, depends on the game. But one of the main items you always want to get is Sunfire Cape. That is typically always the second item I get after I get one of these main ones. And I'll get my boots too. But after that, you can choose between Rylo's Crystal and Abyssal Scepter. That's if they have heavy AP on their team, you can go with Abyssal Scepter or Banshee's Veil. But I usually like to get Ryla's Crystal Scepter just because the extra utility it gives you, increased peel and everything. And then after that, after I get Ryla's Crystal, I usually will get Randuin's or Abyssal Scepter. And then you can just decide what you want to get from there. If you're falling behind, Lockets with Iron Solari is always a good option, and so is Frozen Heart. Now, this is just a standard AP Amumu build. I don't really recommend it unless if you're just doing shits and gigs. But yeah, you want to always build. You want to build Amumu tanky and rush Sunfire as fast as you can. Alright, moving on. We're going to talk about the pros and cons to Amumu. One of the pros is that Amumu has great AoE burst and CC. He is part of the Wombo combo crew. His Q has a very long range, so it means that you can gank from very long distances. And a lot of the time, the enemies will underestimate the length of his Q. And he is very tanky, and he still does lots of damage. Thing I just remembered about his Q is when you throw it, you want to throw it from an angle because it actually increases the hitbox of his Q. Because during the whole length of his Q, if it hits anywhere on it, then he'll go to that person and stun them. But if you hit it like straight on, it's like a smaller opportunity that you can do. So when you want to throw his Q, you want to kind of throw it from an angle, so you have a more increased chance from doing it. Now, some of the cons are that he is weak pre-6. He's very weak pre-6. He can get invaded very easily. If you miss your Q, that means you're probably not going to get a kill or a successful gank. You'll lose a team fight if you miss your ult. Amumu's ult is very large, so you shouldn't really miss your ult. And Amumu doesn't have any escapes. Now, a kind of an escape is that you can bandage toss to a minion or a jungle monster that's over a wall. That's one way you can escape. Now, a quick tip is the best way to start a fight is to actually flash an ult. And then Q someone that's weak or squishy. That's kind of just the best way. Flash ult is the most unexpected way to initiate a fight. Alright, a question you might be asking is, when do I actually pick Amumu? Well, Amumu is really really good between bronze to gold, because that's when people don't really know how to invade your jungle properly and take the proper precautions and know who's strongest and who's not strong. But another reason that you might need him is if you have a AoE team or need an initiation. They don't have a hard counter jungler, and you need your team has a lot of burst. Like if you have like an Annie or anything like that. Now Amumu works great with champions that are like Annie, Ari, and Wukong. He works with all those kind of AoE champions. Now when not to pick Amumu, he's not good when no one on your team has any AoE or anything to follow up. I've been in situations like that where you initiate a fight and then all of a sudden everyone's still sitting back just trying to poke when no one can actually go in. It's very difficult. Now, the reason you don't want to pick Amumu is when they have a hard counter jungler, kind of like Shyvana is, how she's always in your jungle. Same thing with Nunu. And when your team is full AP, because everything about Amumu is AP. So if your team is already full AP, you might want to make a better choice. Now, Amumu's hardest counters are Morgana, because she can shield everything about you, basically. Lee Sin, because he's a hard counter jungler. Same thing with Rengar, and same thing with Elise. They're all very hard counter junglers, and it's just very hard. Now, a quick tip is that Amumu, with just a little bit of AP, he can 100 to 0 anybody that doesn't have an AMR. Mainly like the squishy mids or ADCs who don't build any MR. Now, one real trick to playing any type of any champion there is to just know your limits. Get comfortable with the champion before you play ranked, so you know their limits right here. Now you're gonna watch me land a 3-man ultimate right here. Max range, each one of them. I set up for it and land every single one of them. I hit the ultimate max range. You just have to know your abilities and know your limits when you're playing ranked. When you're playing a champion in ranked. Alright, I'm gonna show you something that kind of like a higher elo player will do, and that's when you are killing the blue buff or whatever buff you're starting at. What you want to do is, as soon as you hit level 2 after killing the mini creep, you are going to activate it and then kill it. So I'm going to demonstrate right here and see. It takes me 2 auto attacks to kill this thing. So then as soon as I hit it, I activate my W so I can one-hit this thing. And that's just, it makes the time go faster, and when you're a Amumu, time is everything. Alright, I'm going to show you an example of this is a mid lane gank. This is a flash Q. This just proves just how long range his Q is, and you're able to pick off people from very far range. Alright, here's another gank with Amumu, showing just how long his Q is, and ganking people that just don't expect it at all. Take advantage of how long this Q is. Okay, this is an example of how you throw his Q at an angle, and how actually the hitbox is actually bigger than what it looks like it should be. You're going to watch it actually change directions here. It actually hits him even though it looked like it should have been slightly in front of him. And that's how you do it. Alright, you're going to see a team fight at the Dragon Pit. Now, Amumu is pretty good at doing Dragon because he does percent damage, but you want to always make sure you pull it so they don't actually know where it is, just like how I did with Thresh's Q. I'm going to slow it down here, and you're going to watch me. I actually miss my Q, but I get in the fight and land a 4-man ultimate and buys my team plenty of time to just do everything they want. And then my team's actually able to clean up this fight. I go down to the poison, but the 4-man ultimate, we got Dragon out of it, and we actually end up getting an ace out of this fight. So they never really see the flash ultimate coming, and you want to try to do that whenever your flash is up. Alright, in a team fight, you want to try to land on the squishies, but it doesn't always take that. You're going to see me land my ultimate on this Thresh and Riven and Warwick, and we end up killing Thresh before he even gets a chance to actually activate anything, which results in a 4v5, just without my ultimate. And we end up with thanks to Nami, we're actually able to create a little bit of a wombo combo, and we end up cleaning up the rest of this fight. Alright, this is the last team fight I'm going to show, and that is a contest for Baron. Now they're trying to do Baron right now. It's already, actually it's about halfway, but it's getting bursting down really low. You're going to show like a max range Q right here. Max range Q with a smite and ultimate. Amumu is actually very good at stealing Barons because one, his ultimate stops the enemy team from casting any abilities, so you can actually ultimate and smite at the same exact time. So it's just it's a big burst, and it's just very good for stealing Baron and also getting Baron to do a little more damage here. Now, in order to be a good Amumu, you have to be able to land your Qs. This is AP Amumu right here. This is what I'm playing, and I land my Q onto Shana and just ultimate blow her up. I just 2-hit her, and that's just how powerful AP Amumu is. This is the end of my Amumu guide. Thanks for watching. I'm B Gerbz. Check out my commentary after this. Like, subscribe.